peace and love. Let's get into it. Now, I am doing a reaction video to a request that was over Buy Me a Coffee from a gentleman called Nicholas in Argentina. So thank you, Nicholas, and love to Argentina. And it is for the band The Warning. So we are going to be getting into this documentary and I'm going to get my education. I've listened to a couple of songs from The Warning and I absolutely loved them. I thought they were really, really cool. Again, check them out on the other channel if you want to. But I still know very little really about where they kind of come from, what their journey was, and how they kind of came to be the awesome force of rock and roll that they now are. So I am hoping this documentary will kind of be illuminating and teach me some things, and we can kind of, you know, discuss as we go along, you know, what it is we're kind of learning about here and what their journey is. So let's get straight into it.
Obviously started playing here in Mexico. We're Mexicans, we're from Mexico. So our first shows were always here in our home and then just across the country. And I feel like we've seen it grow over the years and how we started and just our crowd. And it makes me so excited that people my age are looking for this energy and like this music specifically.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point, and I think that's something that really excites me about The Warning and bands like The Warning, is that for a long time now, kind of young people, sound really old, I'm 33, but you know, the younger generations, like my generation was a lot more into rock music. We were here for it. There were bands everywhere all the time coming out, local bands, massive bands, all different genres, and we were flooding to venues and watching them all the time. And I feel like there's been a couple of decades where it's been more about rappers, and that's not a diss on rap, I love rap music, but it's been rappers, pop music, and kind of singer-songwriters. You know, those three have kind of been the three things that younger people have kind of been interested in, and gig culture's gone away a little bit, and people, you know, a lot of young people, if you ask them, they don't know who Nirvana are, or Radiohead, or the Pixies, or Led Zeppelin, or The Who, or the Beatles even, like, and that I find deeply saddening. So I think seeing the popularity of bands like The Warning, it really gives hope and excitement that that, you know, love for all rock music is going to kind of rise up again, you know what I mean, in the younger generations, and so it doesn't kind of get lost and forgotten, which would be a terrible, terrible tragedy. And I feel like bands like The Warning are really flying that flag. So yeah, I really feel what she's saying there, that it's exciting that people their age are into this music, and because I bet they felt quite alone with it. There aren't many you know, young people, I think, who are kind of into rock music. I don't know what it's like in like schools or anything these days, but obviously, but yeah, let's keep going.
It involves a lot, and we were doing it with our parents. Like we were pretty protected. Like they supported us so much. They got us into lessons. Like they bought us our instruments. Like they give us the liberty to like really concentrate on music.
Because imagine you're like just a teenager, maybe 13, and you want to do this, but of course there's tons of different things that you want to try out and do. So like sticking with it was also hard, you know.
band started out as a 5-member band. Our parents are part of the band. Right now, obviously, our family has grown a bit more, like with our team, our management, and everyone that works with us. But as we keep on working, that is always like the center of everything, and everyone we start working with starts feeling like family, because we've always had that vibe. I feel like we've learned how to be like disciplined and responsible and like level-headed.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's really important for the industry that we're in. So a big hug to mom and dad for everything.
It's really interesting to know, because when I watched their Metallica video that they did when they were kids, so cute. I was wondering, like, where was it kind of coming from with their parents? Was it their mum or their dad, or was it both of them? And like, how are they being supported with that? Because so much practice is needed, and yeah, you would need a lot of support. And also it costs money. Like, electric guitars aren't cheap, drums aren't cheap, you know. So I was kind of, it's interesting to know where that's kind of come from, and it's really nice to see that family has grown from sort of them and their parents to then producers and managers and tour managers, roadies, and it's nice that it's kind of all born from a place of family. I think that's very, very special, and so that every time you're bringing in a new kind of member of a team, they're joining a family, which is it's a really nice business model for any business, isn't it? To kind of start out with that heart, and you're kind of bringing everybody into that, you know. So that's really, really cool. And yeah, it's still like, obviously there have been all female bands, but they're not that common, and it's always a very cool thing to see, isn't it? To see an all-girl band. I mean, big shout out to the women that kind of paved the way for that, like Joan Jett, Kim Deal. Kim Deal was the bassist from the Pixies, but then she also started the Breeders, which was an all-girl band. They were absolutely amazing, and then of course you got Four Non Blondes. They were an all-girl band, weren't they? What's Going On? And Hole, you know, with Courtney Love, yeah, oh, made me over. But yeah, I'm not going to sit here and list all of them out, but like, they're not all coming to me straight away, you know, so it is still a fairly, like, it's quite a rare thing, and I think a very, very good thing to see, you know, really cool.
What we think really got us into this energetic music and rock and roll was definitely the Rock Band, the video game. We loved to play that game, and it was so fun that we just like looked at the screen and we just, oh, we want to do that. I told my dad, like, I want to play the guitar. He's like, are you sure? And I was like, of course. By the first week, my fingers hurt so much that I was like, please, no. But I fell in love with it, and there was no going back.
I've been playing for 13 years. I don't like that number, but okay, 13 years. And well, I've been playing since I was a little kid. I would always play on the drums, like the toy drums. And I remember I really liked hitting things. So it was like a perfect match for me. And my dad saw that I have really good coordination. And he asked me like, hey, like, are you up for lessons? Like, do you want to give it a shot? And I was like, yeah. Nobody wanted to give me lessons. I looked like a toddler. I mean, and like I was super short. Like playing the drums, it didn't look very, very promising for me. But I met one teacher and I had like a test class, and the teacher was like, "Oh, leave her with me. Like she'll be good. Like, let's do this."
My parents bought me my first bass, and of course I was really young and really short, and I couldn't play a full-scale bass, so they bought me a smaller bass, which I have right here.
Right there.
Yeah, it's really small, and I still couldn't play that, and I learned for about a month, and then we started playing together immediately. So I didn't really have like that much time to get used to my instrument before we started playing together.
Okay, wait,
But-
I know that this isn't part of it. I'm going to ask you a question.
Do it.
Because it's like,
Do it.
'cause I know, this isn't my place, but I will. Because there's a lot of people who tell you, like, why don't you play with a pick? Because normally rock
that's
music
true.
is just like,
It's like
but
pick.
you, like, from the start, it
I
was
always
like
play with my
finger
fingers.
style.
I know how to play with a pick now, and I really do like the sound of it. But I don't know, I just always played with my fingers, and I do feel more comfortable with my fingers, even though I do play more on time with a pick. It's weird. It does hurt more though, but
I get it. It's like when I play without shoes and when I play with
Yeah,
shoes.
yeah,
I get it. The big turn.
Muse is a really great band if you want to learn songs on bass. It's such exciting bass lines that when you play, you're just like, oh. So cool to see these guys so young performing like this, because obviously kids, like, they perform at school with like theatre productions and stuff like that, but you're part of like a big team and it's a whole movement. So like when you're on stage just with your instruments like that, you've decided on what song you're going to play, you've decided on like, you know, what you're going to kind of do, and there's nobody really backing. It's just kind of the three of you there. You're just backing each other, and they're so young. And then to go up there and play and actually like sound really good, that's very rare. Like most people, when they start and they first go on stage when they're like 13, 14, 15, or even 16, like you're not good for a few years. But these guys, like, they just got on stage and they were like amazing straight away. And it's so cool that each of them is so happy and like honed for their individual instruments, because what a shame it would be if they all wanted to be drummers or guitarists or bassists. But how perfect is it that, you know, they've kind of they've like just grown up as a band and all gone in those three instrumental directions. Really, really cool. I wonder if that was something there was ever any kind of conflict on, or anything like that. I doubt it. I feel like these guys have got on a lot from the beginning, but, you know, was there a point where one of them was like, I want to play guitar? And it's like, well, you can't. You know what I mean? There's only one space for a guitarist here. Yeah, I wonder what that journey was.
Turning point. The big turning point in our careers. Like, we did our Enter Sandman cover, which went viral, but I feel like the point where we were like, we really want to do this, like, for the rest of our lives, was when we started writing our own music and releasing our own stuff. That was like, whoa, like, we can create something, put it out in the world, and people react to it. It was just something that we really, really liked and looked forward to. So now that we're doing what we do today, like, I just feel like it's the thing that really keeps us going, our music.
That's so cool. Wow, I'm loving this documentary so far. It's really beautiful, and it's really like, you really getting to know them and their background and like where they're from and what motivates them, and it's all just really positive stuff, and they seem like very relaxed, very nice people. Beautiful stuff.
Of course, like any type of siblings, like, we have our disagreements and our little fights and stuff like that, but we get along really well.
We know each other so well that we know how to make it work.
Exactly. And then the second that we start writing music,
Whatever,
everything just flows
thinking.
really nicely. Like, I don't know what to call it except like sibling magic.
yeah.
That's something I've always kind of wondered about, I'm not sure, with family bands. Like, what is it like? Because I guess it has to go in the right way, because I think if I was trying to make a band with my siblings, we would argue like crazy. I think the difficult thing with family is that, like, because you toddlers, babies, whatever, kids growing up together, you kind of hold on to those things and in some ways still see each other as those children and don't always fully know each other as adults. Though I suppose these guys are really close, so they've seen kind of every stage. They haven't like gone apart for like 5 years and changed and then come back together. And I think that's where the difficulty comes in. But I can imagine it really going one or two ways with a family band where everybody's like brothers, sisters, cousins or whatever. Either you have this magic or just complete conflict. So I'm very happy for these guys that it went in the right way, and they've kind of learned how to kind of mitigate and manage any sibling rivalry or difficulty, and just kind of operate in the best way possible. I suppose it helps they're all kind of different ages. If they were all like twins, it might be harder because they might be more competitive, but there seems to be a very nurturing, supportive kind of feel in this band.
Escape the Mind, those were our first compositions ever. It was our first time writing. I was like 12, Danny was 14, and I was 9. We were children. But it was the moment where we really fell in love with music and like what we wanted to do. Like creating something was just such a powerful experience.
And it was such a key thing, I think, personally, that we were not thinking about will people like it, because we were not going to release it. We were not even going to record it. It was not going to be a thing. So we just literally wrote from our 14-year-old hearts.
And I'll walk onto the very top and I'll ride, even though I stumble and fall.
And then we jump into our first album, 21st Century Blood. And it was weird because some of the compositions that are in 21st Century Blood were written in the same time as Escape the Mind.
Mm-hmm.
But there was this very big leap we gave with this song that we made called Free Falling.
It was the first song we actually wrote
Together.
Yeah. And it was also a big thing that we started like looking for outside inspiration. We really like what's happening in the world that we can write about.
And more than anything, like we read so much and we consume a lot of media, as any Gen Z teen does. So we were constantly getting inspired by other
Different
stories
scenarios.
that we were hearing.
Mm-hmm.
So 21st Century Blood was like, we felt like it was our first step. Like, okay, we're a band now. This is our album.
And nothing will change. I'm crashing through space. I'm burning up, and there's nothing I can put out this place.
And one thing that I really like that we really looked for what the song needed. We were like, okay, so what if this is a song with only piano, violins, and stuff like that? Like, we didn't focus on, we have to be rock. We just focused on the energy that went into the song. So if you hear our music, sometimes it will be very varied within the same album.
But then Queen of the Murder Scene comes. It's our second album, and Queen of the Murder Scene. I was in middle school. I started going through my emo phase, so you can hear it clearly there how that shift and like I'm angsty now.
You don't really wanna feel like me.
These songs and these albums like grew with us. It's literally, you can see like the change
Yeah,
in
you can feel the
personality.
Yeah,
Our
and
music.
Queen of the Murder Scene is a concept album. It tells a story.
A novel.
It was like a novel, and it was a really different process writing songs to fit a narrative and a plot.
It was really hard.
It was
actually.
hard because we had some and then we had to add like the filler episodes, but we didn't want them to feel like filler songs. So we really had to put meaning into every single little part.
That's so cool, because usually with bands, obviously you start kind of writing together as adults, and you know, obviously you go through a lot of changes as an adult. Things, you know, there's love and loss and just kind of just general development. But if you start writing when you're a kid, the amount of development between the age of like 10 and 20 is huge, so huge. So it must have been interesting kind of going on that journey musically, keeping a kind of cohesive sound while taking in these new influences and these new feelings and these, like, you know, because when I was a teenager, one week I was into indie music, the next week I was into emo, the next week I was a goth, like I was all over the place. So I can imagine it must have been interesting to kind of navigate for these guys going through every kind of different age and like keeping on that same path while evolving and developing in the same direction and not evolving and developing apart from each other. Really, really interesting.
Some, and then we had to add like the filler episodes, but we didn't want them to feel like filler songs. So we really had to put meaning into every single little part. But I was like really into this idea of making it a whole album about this story. And when I told them about it, they were like, what?
Why is there blood everywhere?
Why? I was like, please hear me out.
We had to change
so much.
like a lot of the storyline because it wasn't even that
like
much
that.
of a storyline.
It was just like
murder.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
you were getting into.
I was getting into K-pop.
That's true. I just remember that too.
We took the emo phase K-pop like express line, right?
Yeah.
So you can hear a lot of influences in there that maybe you don't pinpoint them as such, but for us it's really apparent like which phases we were going
that
through.
key change into the one
those key
like
changes, those harmonies, like it was all very K-pop-y for us.
it's a thing that we also love to do.
That makes me so happy because the first reaction video I did to The Warning, I was kind of going through what I thought their influences were, and one thing I said was potentially K-pop, and a lot of people jumped in the comments and went absolutely not. There's no K-pop in this at all. But now, and what I said where I was hearing it was the harmonies, and so I feel redeemed, exonerated to find out that K-pop was an influence here. And it's interesting that K-pop came in as an influence at the same time as emo because I can see some parallels there. They're both kind of pop orientated and they're both kind of dramatic, you know, and that there are some sort of parallels between these genres. And so if you kind of take K-pop, give them all black fringes and give them electric guitars and stuff, you know, a little couple of tweaks here and there, you're not too far away from getting any emo band, right? So that makes a lot of sense. Just giving myself a pat on the head there, really.
That as we start learning new ways of doing this, we just like, okay, what's the next thing that we can try out with our music?
Yeah.
So
And
it's very fun.
in Queen of the Murder Scene, it was key changes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was
Definitely.
change the key.
That was a theme.
Coming from Queen of the Murder Scene, things are really different now. Because I feel like we really grew as people,
Even
as
more,
musicians,
like
right?
from those
Because
two.
we're going through our teenage years. Of course, you grow a lot from one year to another, and you start living different experiences and stuff like that. So I feel like this third album is personal.
Yeah.
Like it talks more about our feelings or situations that are close to us, or our opinions on certain situations.
Okay, before we get into this new era, because I feel like we've kind of ended a section here and we're coming into a new one. In that live performance there, I was hearing a little bit of an influence from, it was a little bit more punk, hearing a bit more like Brody Doll, like the Distillers. If you want to check them out, they're an Australian band, and Brody is a bit heavy, it's a lot heavier than this, but it's like quite like gritty, old school kind of driving American kind of punk. And yeah, like she has a killer voice, Brody Doll, but I wonder if they listen to that a little bit there as well. It had just a little bit of that more punky kind of safety pin in through the ear kind of feel to it. Hey, very quick pause. If you want me to react to your favourite track, you can request it over my Buy Me a Coffee. You can catch me on Twitch at least 3 times a week. For exclusive live full album deep dives and stream replays, you can join my Patreon starting from £1 a month. And don't forget to subscribe here for new videos every single day. Let's get back to it. We have just got to the Mayday era of The Warning, and we're going to see how they've kind of developed musically. Let's just get straight into it.
Feelings or situations that are close to us, or our opinions on certain situations. Love was one of the songs that we started writing together, and we had music first before lyrics and melody. It's usually the other way around. So the three of us were in this room, and Danny and I were like playing, like getting the riff, and I was like, let me write a melody really quickly for the verse and just like put some lyrics on there. I was like, hey, that's a good line.
That's a cool
I'm not in
line.
danger, I'm the danger.
I do feel that it encases what this new album represents for us, the changes that we went through as musicians, as people, and in writing, because we saw things differently. Like right now, we really concentrated on adding a lot of like new harmonies and how like the bass and the drums were going to play together and then differently at the same time.
Interesting what they were saying about the writing process originally being lyrics and melody first. So I imagine they kind of worked stuff out a cappella and then brought it to the instruments and like, okay, what chords would go behind this? It's very common, particularly in kind of pop writing, to write like that. But usually with bands, it's more typical to kind of get an instrumental down and then write vocals and melody to that. So they've kind of been on an interesting journey there. But it makes sense that as younger musicians, they would start out a cappella and just kind of singing, kicking around ideas basically, before bringing it to the instruments. I think that's quite a logical transition there. And that bit about I'm not in danger, I am the danger, it reminds me of the Breaking Bad line, what was it, with Walter White. I am the danger, I am the one who knocks. That bit, that's... kind of, I wonder if they got influence from that, or if this was written before that part of Breaking Bad. I'm not sure of the timeline here, but yeah, I definitely thought of Walter White with that. I am the danger.
Like there is so much room to grow, and we always enter these situations like with big wondrous eyes. Like we're gonna learn today. What are we gonna learn now?
What's gonna happen now?
You got this is you. Okay, everybody.
Oye, ¿cómo va? Mi ritmo bueno para gozar. Mulata, oye, ¿cómo va? Mi ritmo bueno para gozar. Mulata, pam 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 pam.
Definitely performing our songs live is a totally different universe. Like we treat it as such, even ourselves. We know it's nothing like recording in a studio, but it's so much fun. You're like directly sharing and expressing to the people who are watching you.
And I feel like our past albums, we try to grab like the sound like how we sound live into our recordings, and
Yeah.
we never really
Oh, we have never accomplished
we
that.
Yeah.
never accomplished that until like
This
third
album.
our third album.
I've already collapsed.
That's really interesting because it took a while for me to kind of like learn with the difference between live music and production that, you know, sometimes I would like, if I was performing on stage, I'd kind of write a piece and then like a guitar line, and we'd go into the studio and I'd play it and I'd be like, this is totally redundant in the studio on the recording, and actually we need a little trumpet here to do a part that's similar but not what you're playing. And it's like, well, that worked for the live show, but in the studio, not at all. And it's very interesting the difference between those two things. And what I really like about The Warning is I like that they've started out from a live background. They started out very young, straight away, get on stage, which isn't often the way things are done anymore. Usually, a lot of musicians, you know, you might start writing songs and stuff, you'll get on YouTube and start putting things out like that. You'll get on SoundCloud, Instagram, and all those things. And then maybe after a few years of building a little bit of reputation and stuff, you have the numbers to sell out a venue. And so then you kind of go down and you practice and practice and practice, and then you go and do live, and very often it might not be that good because you suddenly realize that you're playing live for the first time, very different to the rehearsal room. It sounds different. You can't hear yourself the way you could when you were doing sound checks. Suddenly it's full of people and the noise is all dampened, and you can't hear yourself through the monitor, and there's feedback and it's loud, and there's all kinds of issues that take years of practicing on stage to overcome. So they've done it the old school, the traditional way of just going out there and like just learning the craft of performing live, and having that as their kind of base before kind of making production and music videos their, like, you know, primary output. It's kind of, it comes from a very organic place, doesn't it, you know? And I just think that's really, really cool to see this day and age, that kind of style of doing things is coming back a little bit, because it has been a little while now where it has been a lot more internet driven. So it's cool. You can't beat a live gig, can you?
So I'll just drown my sorrows in a non-existent world.
We put in a lot of hard work into our live shows. We really plan everything out, and we practice it a lot.
And even our movements, like if you see us playing in our early stages of the band, we're just like statues. And that's something that we actually worked on consciously. It's like how to play, being able to like jump around and bring more energy to the show.
Like we make fun of each other while we're on stage.
And I know, like, I shouldn't really be like saying this, but even when we mess up, we're like, oh, you messed up. Like,
Yeah, we just look at each other like, you messed up.
When we play a show,
I think that's really, really nice that they kind of have that jokey, light-hearted way of dealing with mistakes, and it's very, very important, I think, to support your band members. There's nothing worse than being on stage with somebody and you don't have that support, and if you mess up, they're going to give you the side eye and the look, and you're on stage and you're in the moment, you're trying to have fun, you get that look because you hit a wrong note or something. They look at you like, we're talking backstage later, and you know it's not going to be fun. That's not good for anybody. And I used to be a session guitarist, and I have been on many a stage with many a prick, and it can be rough, and it can be like, you know, because you will make mistakes at any level. Anybody will like get certain things wrong, but if it's not handled with humor and you know, just part of live performance, it's not going to go very well, you know what I mean? And so it's really, really cool that they support each other in that way. I mean, I think some people thrive under that kind of environment, particularly in like the jazz world and stuff like that. Like people love that whiplash style of like, you must be perfect or I will scream at you until you're perfect, and they need that pressure in order to make a diamond. I don't adhere to that at all. Like was it James Brown? I'm not sure if this is true or not, but it's something I've heard many times as a kind of music folklore, that James Brown, if he ever pointed at you on stage, it meant you were fired. It meant you hit a wrong note and he heard it and you're fired. You're there, you're playing the saxophone, you're like, bop, 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 and he's like, how? You're out. So that would be absolutely terrifying to have James Brown whizzing around, kicking in the air and screaming and pointing at you. That would be terrifying. Anyway.
When we play a show in our country and in our home city, it's just absolutely amazing.
Actually, our last show that we played was in Mexico City, and we hadn't been to Mexico City in a long time.
Yeah.
So coming back and seeing that we had more fans, like there were a lot of people watching us. It was just insane. It was one of the
so
best
cool.
shows
People
we've
like
ever had.
screaming our songs. We actually have like a video where you hear everyone singing on top of like it's
Yeah, like you can't hear
hear
us. Mexico really has something very
a
special.
big scene
Like-
of energetic people
Yeah,
ready
people are
for
really
metal.
passionate about
Yeah.
music in general here in Mexico, and the crowds are always really energetic.
Like this energy that they transmit, you just can't help but give it back. It's really about making like a personal connection of what you want to transmit through your
Yeah.
instrument. Cause I look at our past videos, like our covers,
No.
and I'm like, no, what are you doing? But we were so young, we were starting out, so it's okay. But I feel like that's a really nice thing. Looking back and seeing how much you've improved, how much you've grown.
A veces las cosas obvias son
Awesome. Oh man. I think it's just kind of in Mexican blood, isn't it, music? You know what I mean? That natural rhythm and that passion. I've only been to Mexico once, and it was just a kind of fly and visit, and I ended up in Tulum. Too many tourists about, not my scene at all. I am not somebody who is going anywhere for the gram, you know what I mean? But the food was amazing, the people were amazing, the cenotes, the natural, the nature, the Mayan ruins, absolutely stunning. But I would like to go to Mexico City, and I'd like to kind of, you know, get into the real Mexico, get into the real Mexican music scene, you know. If I were to kind of go to Mexico and learn more about Mexican music and learn more about The Warning, like what would you like to see? Like what would you kind of like to know more about Mexican music and Mexican musicians and the kind of the world around The Warning as well as the band? Let me know in the comments what you think about that, and what I can kind of pursue in that way when it comes to the next time I go to Mexico, because basically any country I go to now, I'm going to be making documentary footage, I'm going to be making content for this channel, I'm putting it out on here for you guys to enjoy. So I would really appreciate feedback and ideas, and just to know what you guys want, and so I know what to kind of like get for you. So tune in for part 3 coming very, very, very soon. Let's kind of get into the final part of this documentary. I've absolutely loved it so far. It's been really, really cool. So let's just jump straight back into it.
You've grown. At the end of the day, like, there's a goal and there's something that you want to reach, and it's really about putting in a lot of work.
And just also be very conscious that the people who work around you are different, you know, are going through different things and will think differently than you. There's no one that will think exactly like you. So taking things with a grain of salt and not taking things personal.
Personally.
For it to ruin like your experience is a key thing. You know, as sisters, we really have like that separate, you know, our working selves and, you know, our sister selves.
Sometimes people have these stereotypes or these stigmas, like we've seen it in places we played in festivals and stuff like that. Like the treatment is really different to like other bands, like male bands. But we see that change after like
We play.
yeah, we play and then like people's faces completely change. And like everyone's just so
Which is fun to
excited.
see.
That is so kind of sad to hear that that's still the case. Why would they not be as good or good musicians as women? Like, I don't know. This idea that maybe that it's all kind of for image or something, or I feel like it's something that just needs to change in society, isn't it? And that we all can make sure I just kind of articulate this like how I have it in my head. It's just such a shame that in 2025 an all-girl band would be treated differently or perceived to be less than a band of all guys. Like, what does that kind of say? Does that say that you expect men to practice harder, to be innately more talented, to have more energy to perform and rock out more? Like, are women going to be, you know, kind of half-assed on their instruments? Are they going to be going to get tired and faint on stage? Like, what are these perceptions? Where do they come from? Because it's absolutely ridiculous. And it's awesome that these guys are going out there and proving them wrong and rocking out and like absolutely like shredding their instruments and melting faces out there. But it's a shame that they are still fighting against that initial kind of pushback. You know what I mean? Like in this day and age, that's really, really crazy. And it just also kind of just goes to show how important this band is of kind of breaking these stereotypes and stigmas. That, you know, it needs to happen. Like we're still not there yet as a world, as a society. We're like, there's still that inequality and kind of misunderstanding and you know, these kind of weird perceptions that people have. And these guys are doing incredible work by fighting against that and you know, raising that you know, just flying that flag. It's really cool to see.
So
Which is fun to
excited.
see because they remind themselves that it doesn't matter who is playing, their age, whatever it is. It's about the music.
Music is the language. It doesn't matter like where you're from, like what language you
Yes.
speak, like anything. Like music is
The language.
Music is the language. And that's exactly it, is that music is a universal language that can bring everybody together all around the world. It's something where you just kind of connect. There's nothing better than getting on stage with somebody. You don't speak the same language, you're from different parts of the world, and you start playing your instruments and your eyes lock and suddenly you're having a conversation. There's nothing more beautiful than that. And you know, as musicians, to be able to then kind of share that communication with the world, it's what it's all about, isn't it? It's about peace and bringing everybody together through music.